So earlier this week, as I'm sure you know, PlayStation made one of the most controversial decisions I think ever in gaming history, and people are very, very understandably angry. Earlier this week, Sony confirmed that from 2028, all new PlayStation games will be digital only. That means no more physical discs. And they went on then to say that it was in response to shifting trends. Now, I'm not sure if you've been on the internet this week. I don't think the trends are shifting that much. And before you say who even buys discs anymore, you're missing the point. This isn't about changing discs. It's about losing the ability to lend games to friends. It's about losing the ability to buy secondhand. And it's losing the ability to sell games once you finish them and do whatever you want with something that you have purchased. Now, in this initial tweet that we saw earlier, there's actually been a community note added which says, digital purchases grant a revocable license to access content, not ownership. Sony recently removed hundreds of purchased Studio Canal movies from libraries due to licensing, and we can see that here on their actual page. So if PlayStation can do that when it comes to movies that you've already purchased, they can do it to games as well. And this is where the issue comes in with digital ownership. You don't own that. You own a license to play the game, and they can revoke that license at any point that they want. I came across this tweet earlier from Nib95_ on X saying that he'd seen several people quoting PlayStation's 78% digital full game sales. It omits important context. That figure includes digital only releases, so look at things like Sea of Thieves, the upcoming Assassin's Creed Black Flag remake. They're digital only games. Even Capcom revealed that 84% of its sales were older catalog titles, many of which are only available digitally. So if you use that kind of data, it's misleading. If Sony are using that kind of data to inform their business strategy, it's misleading. So this goes into a lot of detail, but essentially you have to look at the digital and physical splits between games that released both physical and digital only. And you have some of those games on PlayStation first party. So Sackboy, 77% physical. RNC Rift Apart, 76% physical. Ghost of Tsushima, the director's cut, 71% physical. Demon's Souls, 70% physical. Miles Morales, 66% physical. Spider-Man, Returnal, The Last of Us 2, Ghost of Tsushima, all of those games, and obviously MLB The Show is the odd one out there. So all of those games, the physical versions sell better than the digital only versions. Myself, I buy physical games when I can. So per Sony's own data, 31 out of 33 first-party games from their chart sold more physical than they did digital. And look at that, Uncharted 4 had an insane 83% physical split. Physical gaming isn't dead. I just don't understand what Sony are thinking here. Now, generally, the highly popular live service games or annualized games such as Call of Duty, NBA, FIFA, they have higher digital splits as gamers are constantly launching them, often daily, and don't want to be consistently switching discs. That skews the digital physical split. It's understandable. But when you're looking at single player story-driven games, the majority of them are physical discs first. Now, obviously, if someone has a digital PlayStation, they're not going to be purchasing the physical discs, but I think when we went digital and the ability to have a digital PlayStation was there, I think that could be something that has skewed that slightly. Now keep in mind, platforms, they make a 15% licensing fee from third parties on physical games while they get a 30% cut on digital games. It's misleading. It's very misleading. And if you have a look at this tweet, the data is there for you to see. In fact, Sony came out themselves and said 13 years ago how important physical games were to them.
When a gamer buys a PS4 disc, they have the rights to use that copy of the game. They can trade in the game at retail, sell it to another person, lend it to a friend, or keep it forever.
What's changed, Sony? What's changed in the last 13 years? And then there comes the issue of account safety, losing your account. This person has lost their account to a hacker and lost all of their digital games. But guess what? All of their physical games are sitting comfortably on their shelf. They can't be taken from you. You own those. You don't just own a license to them, you own the physical games. Now, obviously, I have engaged in quite a few tweets that are directed towards Sony and PlayStation, but this is what my feed looks like. This is all I have on my feed at the moment. And it isn't slowing down. PlayStation, they've been quiet for 2 days now. They haven't mentioned it again. They haven't been on social media. And their plan is probably not to talk until the anger quietens down. But this time around, you can't let the anger quieten down. We need to make our voices heard. We need to be loud about this. Sony just can't get away with alienating a huge majority of the market because they want to. In fact, it's probably illegal what they're doing, because they're essentially creating a monopoly of the market, because everything has to go through their store. You no longer will have control over what you purchase. When you buy a physical game, nobody can remotely take that disc away from you. But with digital, access depends on your account, licensing of the platform. If your account gets hacked, if your account gets banned, anything like that, you lose access to your games. Can you really say you own something if someone else controls your access to it? Everything becomes worth nothing after you've completed it. You buy the game for £70, you complete it. Right now, you can sell it on for £35, £45 if it's, within the first couple of months of it releasing. You can put that money towards your next game. I used to do it all the time with PS2, PS3, PS4 games. I would buy the game at Tesco, I would trade it back into Game or sell it back to GameStop or something like that, and then I would put that money towards a new game that I wanted to play. Hell, if you completed the game within 30 days, you could trade it back into Tesco and get your money back. And the used game market disappears. This affects everyone. Without physical copies, there's no second-hand bargains. There's no buying old games cheaply. There's no CX trade-ins, there's no Facebook Marketplace deals, you can't buy games on eBay, you can't sell your old games, you can't share a game with a friend. You see where I'm going here? Like, everything changes. Competition decreases, physical retailers all compete on price. Today you might see PlayStation Store $69.99, Tesco $54.99, used £40. But if physical games are taken away, it'll be PlayStation Store $69.99. And this is another great point. Collectors and preservationists have raised it for years. Physical copies aren't perfect, but they can help preserve games that later become unavailable digitally. Have a look at this one. Drive Club, no longer available on PlayStation Store, but if you have the physical disc, you can still play that game. If a digital game disappears from sale, new players have no legitimate way to buy it, but you can still buy used copies of Drive Club. And then think about birthdays, Christmases, parents, grandparents. Buying a game for someone becomes way harder. You just have to buy them a code for the PlayStation Store or a gift card. That's not the same. Not to mention all businesses that are likely to go bust because of this change. PlayStation isn't just getting rid of discs, it's getting rid of everything that discs allowed the players to do. So what do you think? Is digital only the future, or is this the beginning of the end of actually owning your own games? I think gaming loses a little bit of its soul if this is allowed to happen. Maybe this was always inevitable, but I genuinely believe that the gaming industry loses something incredibly important if we let physical discs go away. Am I overreacting? Or are PlayStation making a huge mistake?